Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Combat Conversations, and I'm your boy AG, aka the Boxing Guru, and I'm joined with my man DB. What's going on with it, baby?
Shit, not much, AG. What's going on?
You already know me, living in a fantasy world, man. Living in a fantasy world, doing it week in, week out. Trying to get people on board with this horse racing, trying to get people on board with this boxing.
Bro, real quick, Flightline is the GOAT, cuz.
Already. Shout out to greatness. You know, Combat Conversations is enthused with combat sports, but we recognize greatness across all sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what we saw this weekend.
Let's just put it this way. What we saw this weekend, you're not going to see again for another 50 years.
At least. And you know, just the performance he put out, record breaking, that's the type of, and I've seen some great thoroughbred racehorses over my time, and that's just a horse that one for the ages.
I can't get over, like, it's against who he did it against. Like, that field was probably one of the deepest and most talented in Breeders' Cup history. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you know, in recent history, you know, we had 2020 was really deep. You take these two out of 3 years, that's arguably some of the deepest field you've seen going into the Breeders' Cup Classic. So, I mean, you know, for us to kick it off like that, you know, go back and rewatch that replay Flightline. It's definitely worth watching. You know, we ain't kicking off Combat Conversations talking about thoroughbred championship horse racing if we ain't serious about how damn good this horse was. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter.
Like, no joke. It's
pound for pound number one.
It's Secretariat-like.
Secretariat-like, damn show. Greatest. So, but let's get into which some of these boxers who could be on that Flightline level. And okay. Let's go ahead and kick it off. We're going to kick it right off the bat. Fuck it. We going straight in. My man Bud and my man Errol Spence. I got something to get off my chest. Okay. We might have talked about this past episode. This irks my nerves. When a fighter says, quote, I don't need such and such for my legacy. My legacy cemented. All this not. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I get it. You've accomplished a lot, you know, in the game, your respective sport, what you do. Okay, I get all that. But if we being honest, if we kind of being honest, your legacy is dictated by the fans. I mean, you know, yeah, you could be put in Canton type shit. You could be put in the Hall of Fame. How many people are in the Hall of Fame that don't get talked about? Yeah, sure, you see their name when you go visit, but they don't get talked about. But yet the ones that get talked about all the time are the GOATs who the fans, who the general public deem the greatest of the greats. We don't need to go to Canton to know who you are. We know who you are. So what I feel is when fighters say that, if it's because the fans are demanding you fight this guy or you battle this guy, you kind of have to for your legacy's sake, because the fans, once this is over, will remember you without having to go to that Canton-like type of deal. So when Bud says he doesn't need Errol Spence for his legacy, he's been undisputed, multi-division champ, he's moving up. I get where he's coming from, but Bud, my man, you need Errol Spence to really put that stamp on it, bro, because people want to attack his resume, put him over the top. And the same goes vice versa. The same would go for Spence if he was to take out Bud. You know, Errol's going to do his thing. He's probably going to move up, become a multi-division champ. We get all that. But I really feel like the fans, if he was to take out Bud, the fans would make Errol Spence's legacy for him even more so. So when they say they don't need these guys, it just irks my nerves, because I'm not calling them a duck, but you know, that quacking gets around, and I don't like what I hear from Bud from time to time, though I may think he'd win the fight. I don't necessarily like all his moves.
No, I don't either. And let's just call a spade a spade. It's bullshit. I do think he needs Errol Spence. I get, like you alluded to, I get where he's coming from. I get what he's accomplished, but it's like, Errol Spence, like, they need each other, like, for the history books. Like, they need each other, and that Spence and Crawford fight, like, that'll put both of them over the top, win, lose, or draw. Like, it'll really put their place in history. So, like, I agree with you when they say I don't need so and so. It's kind of bullshit.
That's exactly how I'm feeling too. You know, it's I want to say it's an easy way for them to try to convince you that if this person isn't on my resume because I don't fight them, that I still want your respect the same as if I wasn't to fight them. Because that's essentially what you're saying. If you actually on record, you know, which Bud's been on record saying that he don't need Errol Spence. And my argument back to him is, if you don't take Errol Spence, there are holes that people will poke through your resume for a long time. But yet when you take those fights, the fans will remember that you took those fights when those opportunities presented themselves and you took advantage and beat them. And then that's it. They won't worry about the fights that you kind of got into leading up to that point, because you did what you had to do. But when you start avoiding that, and then all of a sudden now you fighting these David Avanesyans, again, a good solid. Just what we talked about. We're going to get into it with David Morrell. David Morrell's opponent on paper going in looked good, but it was really the mismatch that we saw. So if Bud's going to show whether or not this dude belongs in the ring with him.
Absolutely, 100%. You know, and look, man, I just want the fight to go. I really do. I'm tired of the games. I'm tired of what Al Heyman and PBC are doing. Like, it's not that hard to make a fight. Like,
it's not.
They need each other. And I don't understand why it's so hard. Like, bro, I don't even have to bet. Like, I know for a fact that Bivol and Better BF is going to get made way before Spence and Crawford do. And it's a shame, bro. Like,
it's a shame that that'll happen.
This is the biggest fight in combat sports, and it's like, for whatever reason, it can't get made.
A lot of nonsense behind the scenes. It can't get made. And, you know, we joke the PBC ain't guilty them damn selves trying to offer Bud over here some type of 35% net clause type of net deal. But yet I bet some way, somehow they're going to come up off of some guaranteed money for Spence to fight Keith Thurman next. And, you know, they might try to lowball him or something, or lowball them both to kind of set up, you know, they not in a good spot as it is.
Well, like, one dude, he tried to tell me on Twitter, like, you know, for whatever reason.
Gotta watch them Twitter beefs, cuz.
Man, for whatever reason, you know, Bud and Spence, you know, it's not going to do well, and PBC's going to lose money, and they can't just throw that kind of money out. But then PBC will turn around and throw $20 million at, you know, Deontay Wilder fighting Robert Helenius, and, like, bro, are we going to sit here and act like that fight didn't lose any money?
If those purse values hold true, that's 100%. You hit the nail on the head. How you coming up with money for that fight, so much for one person, but yet you can't come up with like half of that for a fight that we know will guarantee sell more than the Wilder and Helenius did? Fact. Like, it'll sell. I get it may not reach the numbers that we astronomically think about, these Floyd Mayweather type numbers, super high 100,000s touching the millions. Okay, but even if they literally squeak away with a smooth 500,000, 500,000, we looking at Wilder, who got paid that money to sell what, 75, 80,000? Didn't even touch 100.
Well, you got to think too, like, when Spence and Thurman get announced, like, if Keith Thurman gets a hefty payday,
which he will,
it's like, how does he get all that guaranteed money? And we know for a fact he's not a bigger draw than Terrence Bud Crawford.
No. I just, again, to probably put it for the umpteenth time, that would, to me, it was just, you know, Al Heyman and PBC and them actually making sure that they take advantage of Bud. That's it. We are not going to let you walk away with anything you like, because more than likely you're going to walk away with the dub. That's how they feel. Like it's, I'm not saying they don't trust Errol and believe in Errol Spence, but they
I think
definitely Errol wants to fight. We know that.
Errol wants to fight.
Yeah.
It's just Al Haymon and PBC. I mean, they're the cancers of the sport. Al Haymon, he's the new Don King. You know what I mean? He, for whatever reason,
my man Don King resurgence though. He got a couple of them on the hip. His last couple shows been all right.
PBC,
we waiting on Makabu to come back.
They've always prided themselves on making these big financial fights, and then when you have a fight that's in the same conversation as Floyd and Pacquiao, and the biggest fight in recent memory, for whatever reason this fight can't get made. But then like what we said earlier, what we alluded to earlier, you get Wilder and Helenius, you get Ortiz and King Kong, you get all these unnecessary fights on pay-per-view, and they're not pay-per-view worthy.
Nope. Not at all. And those are the type of fights that they've been putting on in recent memory, which is probably why they in a lot of turmoil at the end. It's no real secret that, it as a whole, boxing has been trying to climb itself out of a hole for a long time. But we've talked about it. You don't see what's the last top ranked pay-per-views you remember? Terrence and Sean Porter. Then
Terrence and Shaw Porter,
Tyson Fury, Wilder.
And
if you think of another top ranked pay per view recently, I can't think of one. Shakur don't fight on pay per view yet. Loma don't fight on pay per view yet. It's funny how the memory starts slipping, but that's just it. Top Rank's not bleeding us with these pay per views, but we could just think of a few off the top with Wilder, Andy Ruiz, Thurman, and Barrios on pay per view. Tank fighting a few guys on pay-per-view, but yet they do actually have good sense to put like Jermell and Castano on regular Showtime. Undisputed fight against two quality ass fighters who put on a show, Lions type performance. Mm-hmm. And that's not pay-per-view, but they literally had the audacity to put fucking Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios on pay-per-view. Like we was just gonna not see it or notice it. Like that's crazy. And then Jermell's gonna fight Tim Zhu coming January. I bet that's probably not pay-per-view.
No, and it should be. That's one of the few fights that's arguably pay-per-view worthy. It may not be $75 worthy, but
I think even then you're saying $6. Pay-per-view. That's another thing we talk about. Pay-per-view probably needs to get into a tier level. So if you want to go pay-per-view on some of these routes, then why not set up levels to the pay-per-view? $75 to $79, whatever. I'm willing to bargain at the table. What do y'all think should be the most expensive pay-per-views? The Canelos of the world. When we have these Bivol versus Beterbiev type fights, Spence and Bud. Okay, you could charge the max you want, get the 80. But what about when you have the Jermells versus Tim Zhu, which is really high quality boxing, might be a low grade pay-per-view if it's the main event, but why not offer for something like that for like $29, $30? It's like I get it. It's still pay-per-view, but you're not being gouged $75.
Right.
Think about that too. But I don't think that's a model they want to go with. They like to go with a standard, even though like Ortiz and them was $50. Fucking Ortiz and Charles Martin at the beginning of the year, the New Year's card, that didn't need to be pay-per-view. I mean, that's four just this year. So again, there's a lot of blame to go around, but when you start off with a fucked up offer like that, you expect this train to go nowhere, and that should be a fact of the matter. There's no way you should offer a guy no guaranteed money like that and actually think you're gonna have a good sit down with him and we getting this fight going. It's just not gonna happen.
Well, also, and you got to think like Wilder and Ruiz. That's supposed to be a mandatory. That's gonna be coming up here soon. That's a pay-per-view quality type of fight. It may not be $75 worth, but that's another quality pay-per-view fight. That's reasonably should be made into pay-per-view.
Which one?
Wilder and Ruiz. coming up.
Okay, and again, now I kind of what we talking about. High quality fight, definitely a fight a lot of fans want to see. Definitely want to see the Bronze Bomber take on Ruiz.
I'm not saying
is that should be $75, $80 or is that a $30 pay-per-view fight? $40, $20, like
that's a $40.
30. That's okay. I could get with that, and then keep it at 2 base levels.
I say
keep the
quality.
top tier 80. No, you get where I'm getting at though, right? Like,
right.
It's no belt on the line, so I don't give a fuck who you actually are. If there's no world championship on the line, should it be deemed the top tier level? I'm gonna pay the most that I can pay to enjoy this sport. I guess. I mean, it is the Bronze Bomber, it is Andy Ruiz. But that's my point. It's kind of like that's probably still good pay-per-view worthy if they could get a good card. But does it need to be 75 like we would pay for Canelo? Like we're going to pay for Spencer Bud? No. Okay, so that's where they definitely need to come in maybe with a tier level. Or if not, just don't put it on pay-per-view. But if PBC is going to have to pay them a standard because they've already used to making it before. You think Wilder's going to fight Ruiz for chump change after he just fought Helenius for 20 mil? Fight Fury for 20 mil? Nah, not at all. That's just the way the dice crumbles.
PBC, they're making a monster, and they're not going to be able to undo it because they're making all these.
They've been making a monster for years.
It's not good quality fights, not good quality boxing, and they're fucking gouging fans with unreasonable pay-per-views, fights that do have absolutely no business being pay-per-views.
No, and here's the thing: to PBC's credit, they have a stable of good boxers. They just not putting them on against each other, and then bam, out of nowhere, Caleb Plant and Benavidez are fighting. Maybe it's because they backs was against the wall and they knew this Benavidez versus Uskatugi wouldn't fucking sell or did whatever. They know it. Then bam, Caleb Plant, the talk is rah-rah. Plant looked good against Durrell. Set it up. Bam, now we got Plant Benavidez official. And now things are kind of where they should be. Now that's it. That is a PBC fight completely in-house that will satisfy all boxing fans, all promoters aside, all bias aside. We don't give a fuck who puts the fights on. A lot of true fans give absolutely no fucks who puts on the fight. Top Rank, PBC, Matchroom, Queensberry, Boxer, Probellum, fucking, BLK Prime. We give no fucks. I promise you, if Errol Spence and Bud would have went down on BLK Prime, I'm fucking it up like Bud did. BLK Prime, we'd be all cool. Nobody would give no fucks.
Already.
But you got your fanboys on social media that go back and forth because they like to support who they like when it comes to promoters. But all that shit aside, this is an in-house fight that finally got made between Plant and Benavidez. And now that's it. It's all that talk is pushed aside. Now the talk is who's going to win the fight.
Right direction.
Oh, yeah. And I think they have to. They have to.
Well, this isn't the first time that boxing has went in the right direction, but then once they make a fight like this, bro, they go 10 steps backwards.
Oh, they make that quick left at Albuquerque quick than a motherfucker. We talked about it, boy. Do you remember the run? Do you remember the run? We didn't call it the run for nothing. They actually was getting shit together. It made you feel like boxing was back off on the right foot. Then bam, 6 months of fucking hibernation. Don't have shit.
It got its Max Kellerman on and fell off a cliff, cuz.
Hit the cliff.
Hit the cliff.
Meanwhile, UFC picks it up, got a handful of bread. Dana White was slipping for a while. Then bam, all of a sudden he snaps out of it. We got great UFC fights. It's one of those things where it goes in its little lulls, but it feels like when boxing has its opportunities, they pass up on too many of them. And in this case, Benavidez and Plant is a great opportunity. Cash it in now. Go ahead and let that fight happen. They both want it. It can happen. We want it as fans. Bam, it's going to happen.
Both in their prime.
Spence and Bud. you know, they, to their credit too, they made us wait for our own good. They went ahead and let Errol Spence clean up, get all the belts. Now Bud finally got a belt. That's it. Nothing stopping him for undisputed. We've been begging for this fight like a long time, even before it would have been for undisputed. So now that we wait and they don't capitalize, bam, shoot themselves in the foot. That's exactly what happens more often than it doesn't.
And it's really a damn shame because I mean, this fight, it could be historically one of the all-time greatest fights that have ever happened. And honestly, I feel like if it does ever get made, it's going to be Mayweather-Pacquiao 2.0. The fight's not going to match the hype. You know, I feel like Bud's going to be aged out just a little bit. I'm not saying that's a built-in excuse, but I just feel like that it's going to be a little bit past its expiration date, and the fight, it's not going to match the hype whatsoever. I just don't see it.
We're already hyping it up too much. We talked about that too. Probably if the fight took place this Saturday, it probably would still be Mayweather-Pacquiao 2.0, because the way we hyping it as fans, like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know? And which is why Bivol and Beterbiev kind of needs to happen. Beterbiev's on the wrong side of the 18 holes. You know, he's 38 years old. And we talked about this before. You know, age matters, don't get me wrong, but it's really just what have you done for me lately? Like any other sport, any other thing. What have you done for me lately? So we know it's getting old, but the last time we seen Beterbiev, he looked as good as ever. So why think that, unless you really like this cliff theory, then all of a sudden Beterbiev is just gonna, you know, because we got to go ahead and, you know, Bivol looked great against Zurdo this weekend. Yet again, Ben told y'all about Bivol. Well, the footwork and the hand speed. Well, Bivol, when he gets in those 1-2 combos, my goodness, it is pretty. Bivol is a fun boxer to watch.
Bro,
sometimes I feel like he lets off the gas a little bit.
Bro, he pieced Zurdo up so bad, he actually thought he won after the fight. I'm like, bro, check him for CTE.
Bro, Bivol gave Zurdo that Sandor Martin treatment, huh? You know what he gave that, man. You remember, hey, maybe it's that Mexican fighter style that after the fights, they, for some reason, you know, Mikey Garcia thought he beat Sandor Martin too, and you know, we just over here shaking our head. Nah, Mikey, nah, you ain't get him, dog. Nah. And the same thing with Zurdo. You know, Zurdo, I know his English ain't all that great, you know, but he's still, he knew what he said. And he said but they ask him, you know, they fucking, you know, Chris Mannix and all these motherfucking guys ask him the question. They put him, you know, I get it, maybe kind of be humble. You know, yeah, maybe I go back to the drawing board, but what do you expect the motherfucker to say? You think you did enough to win the fight? Yeah, I think I did enough to win the fight. Judges don't know what they doing. Like, what are you gonna do? You know, hey Tommy, hey, yo, Paulie, what are you gonna do about it? You know, what the fuck you gonna do? You know, go fucking whack the judge? Like, what you gonna do?
You also got to put yourself in their position sometimes. Like, the dude just got out of a fight. You know, he's not gonna know. Obviously, from what we see, you know, he's not gonna know until he gets back, looks at the tape, and so
he knows he lost. He don't need to see tape to know he lost. You know.
No, I agree, but you know,
same thing with Sugar Show O'Malley. You know, he I get it. I like we talked about it. We like what he said. You know, kind of humble, but at the same time, the reason why he didn't talk out the side of his neck is because he fucking knows he didn't dominate that fight.
Absolutely.
But when he goes back and watches the tape, he's gonna say, "Yeah, I think I won a good close victory." But that's the point of the matter. He knows, and Zurdo had no business saying what he said. He needed that CTE check.
It wasn't close. It wasn't.
That cowboy hat was a little tight, huh?
Bivol, he picked up right where
he left off.
After he pistol whipped Canelo. He went ahead and like a full ring pimp. He just backhanded Zurdo.
Bro, I mean, I heard through the grapevine that Mexico's boycotting Bivol. Don't do that on this mic, cuz don't do that. But I heard that you know, Mexican fighters, Mexico's boycotting Bivol. Because they mad right now, cuz they mad. Beat up on Canelo, took out an undefeated Zurdo. And if Munguia wasn't so scared of Bivol, said he'll come down to 168, tap that ass too. But you know Jaime Munguia. He's Golden Boys, bro. He's Golden Boys version of PBC's stable. How they wasn't trying to put no fights on nobody.
Bro, I mean, even Benavidez doesn't want no parts of Bivol. Like,
no. That's why he been staying away from that 175. He don't want no better Biev neither. He's trying
like,
his damnedest to stay at that 168.
I'm gonna struggle to make weight at 168 rather than go to 175 and get my ass handed to me by Bivol and better Biev.
And I think that's what Jaime Munguia is doing. To be honest, I think he's literally hurting himself to stay at 160. Last fight, dude's passing out. He's so dehydrated. I mean, he making Devin Haney look like a model. Like that's how you supposed to look. Nah, he's over here passing out. They giving him the towel wave. Like that's how bad he's trying to stay at 160 and not go up to 168. And even probably for him, fight the likes of Benavidez and David Morrell and all these guys. Even though, like I said, so many different promotions that ain't really, Oscar's supposed to be exposing everybody here soon. I don't know. He been saying he going live in 5 minutes for like 3 weeks now. Okay,
hey,
so
speaking of David Morrell, as much as me and you like to joke, bro, he almost caught a body cut.
He did,
it's not funny, but
no, and these guys, like you said, they gotta. People have to protect them from themselves too, because these fighters are true warriors. And I guarantee you, when you got a guy like who David Morrell was fighting, Aidos, I think it's, I don't know if it's Aidos, but Aidos, he's so tough for his own good. He probably thinks that any given moment he's got a puncher's chance because he, undefeated fighter, knockout high knockout percentage. And if you look at his resume, bro, he's fighting people with winning records. He fought like 2 or 3 guys with a losing record first 2 or 3 fights. And ever since then, he's fighting, you look at his resume, he's fighting guys 20-3, 17-1, other formidable guys who are coming up in the game. Not saying that doesn't make his quality talent pool in his resume good, but at least to show he's not fighting ridiculousness. And he probably thought, hey, I got a puncher's chance at any given moment. But these trainers and these cut men, man, they gotta protect these guys from themselves. That's just the fact of the matter. It's as much as we we've even moaned and complained about early stoppages, but this is a fight where it's clearly you got to stop this fight, and it just didn't happen for like 5 rounds.
Yeah, man. I mean, prayers go out, man. You don't ever want to see anybody get hurt that bad to where they're forced to go into a medically induced coma. Like that shit.
No, and that's why they put him in that coma, because brain swelling, blood pressure, all that. They need him to rest. He needs to rest. They put him in that state of coma. Right. So that's crazy, But just back to what we said, all respect to combat sports. We all sit back. We love to chat about it and everything. But hey, these guys do put their life on the line for our entertainment. And we always give credit where credit is due. We just always love to have us a good conversation about these promoters and these managers, though. They ain't the ones getting in the ring, so they could get all the smoke.
Oh, 100%. It's easy for them to sit back and talk and do all this bullshit, but they're not the ones sitting going in the ring and putting their lives on the line.
And they pull most of the strings. That's the sad part about it. Many boxers are their own boss, and that's why you see such high salaries when it comes to boxers. It's because they demand a lot. They know they're the one in the ring putting all the danger on. But these promoters got so many strings to pull, and these networks, they can dictate whether a fight does or does not happen. Fuck the boxer. That's just the fact of the matter. So, but Bivol looking good. What's next for him? You want to see in the meantime, because Beterbiev's fighting Yard come early 23. I mean, does Bivol just kind of sit, wait it out, take Beterbiev, or does he take a fight in the meantime, rematch Canelo?
I would say Canelo rematch.
Does that Canelo rematch get Bivol any more ready for Beterbiev than he already is?
Because personally, I think he's already ready. Ready to fight Canelo. But I mean, hey, since he's busy, why not go to 168 and try to be undisputed down there, and then come right back to 175, and then do back-to-back undisputed? Cause
that'd be ignorant. That'd be ignorant. He ain't doing it, but that'd be ignorant. I don't think he will, because now you got Canelo. To me, it's all about the timetable. We'll see how the timetable goes. But Canelo just having surgery, coming back. Don't know if I think P. Diddy Hearn mentioned something about Canelo will be ready come Cinco de Mayo weekend. Pretty sure. So you're looking at what, 6 months from now? So he says he'll be ready. Don't know if he's not. What happens? So. But I think Bivol is ready for Beterbiev today. Also.
Oh, 100%.
And Beterbiev is a monster. This is a fight that we are a top 3 fight to be made right now. I think the top 3 fights to be made in boxing is Bud and Spence. We just need to shut up about it. 2 would be Tyson Fury and Usyk. And then 3, Bivol Beterbiev. And then 4, riding on that hip, Tank and Ryan Garcia. No belts for that one, the Mickey Mouse belt. But again, the other 3, Bud undisputed, Usyk Fury undisputed, Beterbiev Bivol undisputed. 3, that's the 3 top fights to make, period.
No, I agree.
Think so.
I was actually getting ready to say that too. Usyk and Fury, which I really hope that fight gets made. I think both Fury and Usyk, they're on their bullshit. Obviously Bud and Spence, we just got done talking about it. And then obviously Beterbiev and Bivol. But instead of Garcia and Tank, even though I would love to see that fight, I actually can't wait to see Loma and Devin Haney.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that floating around that top 5 area, and that's definitely a fight in the mix that we definitely want to see, and that would be, and I like Loma's such high on pound for pound list and regarded very high that, it's an undisputed fight, but one of them's already the undisputed champ. Whereas the other 3 fights, you got 6 champs. In this case, Loma not bringing anything to the table except the resume and the skill set at this moment in time. Right. So that would be great. And like I said, but still, now that's belts on the line, and tanking Ryan Garcia ain't got shit. The Uncle Leo belt, but that's about it. No real belt.
I mean, that's still a good fight. That's obviously
no doubt. We definitely want 100%. There's a few of them in the game. We want Boots and Virgil. That ain't gonna happen. But two crossover fights that, even though no belts will be on the line, extravagant fight.
No, like I said, it would still be a good fight between Tank and Ryan. King Ra, Princess Ra, whatever you want to call him. But I just think, in terms of just boxing, I feel like Loma and Devin Haney, I just think it's going to be much better, much more entertaining. Not saying the Tank and Ryan fight can't be entertaining, but I just feel like that fight, I don't think it's going to be competitive. Granted, Ryan with his new trainer, he's made much more improvement, but I feel like Tank, he's just on another level right now, so I feel like that's not going to be as competitive as Loma and Devin Haney. And I'm not buying that Loma is completely washed.
Now we talking about competitive, yeah, definitely, but we also talk about Haney might put you to sleep. Loma's gonna have to press the action for you to stay awake, because Haney will rock you a lullaby. Why he'll batter you and pity pat you, but he's not gonna bring that action. If Loma don't press the pace, you're in for a long night. I think Tank and Ryan Garcia would deliver on the action. I really do. Ryan Garcia is gonna try to come and possess his speed. Tank's gonna really try to get in there and counter him and try to definitely hit him with those 1-2 quick combos after a punch, and the action's gonna have to be there. Whereas I could see Devin Haney boxing off that back foot extra hard, because Loma is that offensive aggressiveness. And if Loma brings that pace, Haney's going to be forced to back it up a little bit more.
Bro, y'all boxing fans are on something else. Like, no joke. Y'all be doing the most. Y'all be talking about how, it takes skill and this and then.
It's the sweet science, bro. It's the sweet science.
The sweet science, all that bullshit. And then when you got a fight in Lomachenko, in Devin Haney, that can give you that sweet science, that can give you all that skill, that talent, it's like, bro, oh no, we don't want to see that. Devin Haney, he's gonna put us to sleep, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm
just letting you know what you will see. I didn't say anything about me not appreciating the skill set that he has, because he's top 10 pound for pound. And I like the way he orchestrates throughout that ring. But I'm just letting you know that that's what you're probably going to see. He's going to have to resort to that. Didn't you just mention something about some Mayweather-Pacquiao 2.0 with some Spence and, but why? Is it because Floyd got on his bike and kind of pedaled a little bit more than usual because he was afraid of that pressure that Pacquiao puts on motherfuckers? Ask Keith One-Time Thurman. It's just pressure that Pacquiao brings, and that's what Floyd did. That's why I never lived up to the hype, if you ask me, because there was no action involved. Motherfuckers was going to sleep, and that's what we joke about. With Shakur, arguably best, him and Bivol, statistically, two of the best defensive fighters. But I think they throw their hands way more often enough to make the fight entertaining while being spectacularly good on defense.
They do. And I don't think Devin Haney is going to pull a Mayweather. I don't think he's going to do that. I think Devin Haney is willing to stand in the pocket and throw some hands. Now, he's not going to do what Loma does. He's not going to do what Shakur does. He's going to stick to what he does best. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what a top level elite fighter is going to do. They're going to stick to what they do best, but he's not just going to get on the bike and start pedaling and, be a boring fighter like most people say. I feel like he's going to do enough, throw his hands just enough like Bivol does and still make it an entertaining fight.
Right. I agree. It's gonna be back and forth, and that's why I think the Bivol better be a fight is a top fight to make. And then on the flip side of that, to end the boxing note, David Morrell, what he did, man, he's a true player in the game at 168. We've been talking about him on the episodes for a while on Combat Conversations. Again, he's a young champ in the fast lane. No, and he's on that quote unquote that Lomachenko train, where he's already, I get it, it's the regular world champ, it don't even count, but it's still a belt to be reckoned with, and he's had it since his third fight. Like, who's getting championship caliber? The belt that Tank has, this guy's got it at his second and third fight, and now he's 6-0. So I mean, you're looking at a guy who's on the fast pace. Keyshawn Davis and them don't even have these belts yet. And I mean, it is what it is. But David Morrell is a true player at 168. And hey, winner of Benavidez and Plant. Morrell, one of them two. We need it. Like, when it comes to fans, before we get off on this and hop on this great ass weekend that we got coming up in UFC, same thing. This rule applies to the UFC, but for boxing, what I just mentioned earlier with the legacy and stuff like that. Tank and Ryan Garcia, two fights that the public, the general public, the fans are demanding that we are saying, Tank, Ryan, y'all fight each other, and the winner, we are going to think more highly of you. We are going to boost your legacy in our eyes. But guess what? No belts on the line. But yet when we go back and remember 20 years from now, man, you remember when Tank, whoever won, you remember when Tank beat Ryan or Ryan beat Tank? No belts was on the line. Ain't nobody going to bring that up, but we will remember the legacy that it brought and what the general public and fans now think of you without having to go to the Hall of Fame to remember you. That's the type of legacy fight you need. It's a legacy fight without there being any belts on the line. So if Benavidez and Plant, Benavidez got the interim belt, Plant don't have a belt. Okay? For the sake of whoever wins, it don't matter. Benavidez still, or Plant is the new interim champ. Morell has the WBA regular belt. We don't give a fuck about the belts in that reference to want to see the fight. We don't care that one's got the regular belt or the other one's got the all that gets thrown out the window when we see two grade A fighters about to go down and duke it out.
I agree.
And I rest my case. That's all I do. That's when it comes to these fights. So, boxing got a few more fights to make, but a lot of fights. We just named them. A lot of fights are on the table right now to be made. Get made, get made. So, get off the boxing kick. Let's get on to the MMA guru sport.
That UFC 281.
That UFC 281. Okay, now we already off the bat we seem to have a little disparity in opinion, a little discrepancy. Because I'm telling you, my man Alex Pereira is coming for blood.
I don't doubt that he is. I don't. I think this is
okay. Let me take that back. He's gonna get blood. I think he's gonna get what he's looking for.
So you're saying it right here, right now, Alex Pereira. You picking him over Izzy
and the new,
okay,
the new, straight up. Yeah, I think when and obviously
get humble, cuz
okay. I'm telling look, I get it. They fought before in different combat sports. Can't use that triangle theory. Totally different sport. But I mean, hey, when you knock a man out, when you just as confident in the next sport, and I think Pereira's gonna take advantage.
Okay, so let me ask you something real quick. I probably know the answer to it, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Have you actually watched the two fights went back when they were in Glory Kickboxing? Like, have you watched the fight?
Yeah, I went back and watched it. Once Pereira actually won the last one and Izzy put us to sleep with the Undertaker shit. Yeah, I went back to make sure that, because I knew this fight was happening next. It had to come next. Went straight back and watched them then. Yeah, both of the Glory Kickboxing. Yeah.
All right, so I watched a little bit as well, and bro, Alex, it wasn't as dominating as some people make it out to be. It wasn't. Like, the first fight, you don't want to scream robbery, but, Pereira, he got humbled a little bit. Second fight, he was kind of in trouble, but then he caught Izzy with that left hook, put him to sleep. And again, we don't want to talk about triangle theory. We try our best to stay away from it. But, case in point, you look at Clarissa Shields and I forgot her name. What's her name?
Savannah Marshall?
Yeah, Savannah Marshall. There it is. Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall, only woman to beat Clarissa in her professional boxing career, or back when they were in the amateurs. So out of all the women Clarissa's faced in the boxing ring, Savannah Marshall was the one that, gave her an L. Fast forward, they meet up again for Undisputed, and Clarissa put an ass whooping on her, outboxed her head off. Bro, I think that's what's gonna happen this Saturday. I do. I really think that. I think Izzy is going to put on another masterclass performance, and I think he's going to show that he is levels above Pereira.
See, and I can see Izzy squeaking out a victory. I most certainly can. But that's maybe where we kind of part ways on that. Is regardless how it goes down, I think it's going to be a close, good fight. I don't think either fighter is gonna show, and if I'm being honest, only Alex Pereira really will. There's just again, we could be totally wrong come Sunday morning. That is gonna show that he's levels ahead. I don't think my honest opinion is neither one of them is gonna show that they're levels ahead of the next, because I really do think both of them are at such a high level. Now, like I said, if Izzy puts on a master class and just kind of, say he goes up and, okay, let's just say, for instance, he goes up in there and does what Usman was doing to Leon Edwards the first 4 rounds and 30 seconds. 4 rounds and 4 minutes. You see what I mean? Then you can honestly say at that point, like, out of up until the last minute of the 5th round, that fight was being handled by Usman. Like, he was winning that fight. No, there's no doubt he would have won that fight. That's why you fight till the last bell. But if Izzy puts on a type like that, and it's 4.5 rounds in, we're thinking, hey, Pereira, either you knock this guy out or you're losing, then I will eat some humble pie and some crow, give Izzy his credit. But I don't think that's the type of fight you'll see. Because I think Alex Pereira's that good.
Okay. But, for me, the reason why I do think it's going to be that kind of fight is because Izzy has faced the best at 185. And on a consistent basis, he's had performances like that. He had that both times against Robert Whittaker. He did it against Paulo Costa. It was kind of a snooze fest when he fought Yoel Romero. But, then again, as much as we want to put blame on fighters like Izzy or like a Floyd or like a Devin Haney, other fighters, Andre Ward, whoever, they've all said the same thing. We want to the fans want to put blame on the champs, but we hardly ever put blame on the opponents for ever really pressing the action. So, I think Izzy, he's not going to go up and try to strike because that's Pereira's strong suit. I think he's going to, try to outpoint him, select his shots, use those leg kicks, mix in that jab, and I just feel like he's going to cruise to a unanimous decision win.
In a good fashion, though. Well, I get what you're saying. In a good fashion, that makes it seem like this man's just next level, and I think Pereira's going to have one of them type performances, hopefully, that he actually does press the action. He goes in there and takes it. He ain't going to want Izzy to give it to him. He's going to go in there and take it for himself and walk away with it. I could see it ending early. I don't know. I think it's going the distance though. But regardless, I'm riding that Alex Pereira train because I think he's ready. I think he's next level with it. And I think he's ready for what's coming this Saturday.
I got Izzy, but hey, that's why you watch the fights. You never know.
Indeed.
And
what else they serving up for us?
Kind of like what you alluded to earlier. We thought Usman was, he
was cruising,
and then
he handling the fight.
Head
in a good way. In a good way. In the head kick. Yeah.
And then, we actually have another title fight on that same card. You got Carla Esparza going up against Weili Zhang.
Weili Zhang.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Weili Zhang. She's a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Zhang is going to take it. I do. Kind of like what we talked about, in boxing, Esparza's last performance against Thug Rose, granted Thug Rose didn't do any better, but it just wasn't that impressive.
You got to go in there and take it from the champ.
It really wasn't.
Champ ain't going to give it to you. You got to take it. Leave no doubt. Leave no doubt.
99% of the time, yes, that is the case. But, last fight, that's that rare anomaly where, that didn't happen. But I think going in, I like Zhang. I think she's going to press the action, and I think she's just going to take it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like Weili Zhang, and I think she's shown, even in when, like you said, when she got in, she was holding her own when she fought Thug Rose too. Because Weili got she got the kick heard around the world too.
Yeah, that she did.
Mm-hmm. So, that's just one to remember that. Again, she like a sack of nickels in a bad habit. Like a $5 a day coke habit. She just got dropped. So, but at the same time, that's just one of those, you got wear and tear on the body. You got a lot of factors going in, and so, but at the end of the day, I think Weili is going to come out with the victory. And then ultimately we got what, the entree of the night, the no championship, but always guaranteed to deliver.
You got Dustin Poirier, and you got Michael Chandler, and his fights always deliver.
His value is super high.
Very high.
Yes. You want to talk about entertainment value?
Bro, I have yet to be disappointed in a Michael Chandler fight. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, his fights are always entertaining. Like,
he brings the heat.
Bro, like that,
brings the action.
That Gaethje fight, that shit was fucking crazy. Like that, they were like two gladiators, like from way back in the day.
When you standing on your feet first 30 seconds of the first round, it's serious business. And then you're on your feet for the rest of the 2.5 rounds, ridiculous. And then we got Dustin Poirier coming up with it.
Bro, Chandler, he goes for the finish. He ain't trying to do no decision. He ain't trying
to play with his food. He trying to get in there, handle business, and dip what they call the fuck out. Man. UFC big weekend, man. Can't wait for this one.
And then I think Janibek also fights this weekend as well on that top rank card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Janibek, Quasi style.
Yeah, that's another one. That's another one. He don't like playing with his food either.
Boo ducking. Nah, he's gonna get that out of there. He don't play with his. No. Yeah, he's at the moment he's a boogeyman of 160. He ran Boo Boo off. And Boo Boo's not at 168. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got time to be talking about Boo Boo. But since we wrapping it up, what the fuck is up with Boo Boo?
Like, if you're a young fighter, Boo Boo is the fighter to look at to like not what to do with your career.
Just don't.
Like,
facts.
Whatever he does, you do the opposite.
Put a poster of him in your room so you know what not to do.
Right.
Right next to your poster of Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather. If you're Tank Davis. Once again, we want to thank y'all for listening to Combat Conversations. Please like us on Facebook, Combat Conversations. Follow us on Twitter at Combat Convo 504, at Combat Convo 502. Please let us in on all information, takes, and opinions. All welcome, baby. Thank y'all for listening. I've been your boy AG, aka the Boxing Guru, with my man DB. Peace.